What RC car should I buy? That's the question I receive the most in my inboxes, and to be honest with you, it's one of the hardest questions to answer. The only thing that makes it a little bit easier is when the person has a certain brand in mind. And the brand I see the most is Traxxas. Those guys do a lot of marketing, so it's only natural that they're bringing a lot of new people into the hobby. So I thought I'd make a video about the best Traxxas models you could buy if you're getting into RC, and I've narrowed it down to just 5. This was not an easy task because as of making this video, they have 70 models listed on their website. Let's get into my top 5 picks. So if you're looking for an off-road, ready-to-run 4x4 truck that won't break the bank, the one I've recommended the most over the years is the Stampede 4x4. This truck is an absolute blast to drive, even when it was in brushed form. And luckily now they offer it as a BL2S model. And this model is much like the Haas, which is another vehicle that I've actually recommended a lot. But this one is a lot of fun to drive. The newest version has these awesome sledgehammer tires that really rip up the terrain. It still has the good ground clearance, so if you want to drive over very low grass, you could do that. It does great in dirt and construction lots, and if you have an area where you could go and jump it, this truck is a lot of fun to just send in the air. The BL2S models have some pretty good power to them. They're very close to 30 miles an hour if you're running a nickel metal hydride 8.4 volt battery pack. It does taper off to the high 20s, and that's what it runs on a LiPo battery pack. But what's also great about the new BL2S models is they have all the heavy duty parts on the truck. So it's got a heavy duty shock tower, it has the cold weather arms, the heavy duty steering knuckles and hubs. The truck is really well built up and can take a lot of abuse. So if you're a younger driver, it's probably gonna put up with a lot. If you have a little bit of an idea on how to drive an RC, this is gonna be fun for you to drive. And there's still a lot of hop-up parts out there available for it. So when you do grow into it, you could go and modify it, make it your own. If you do grow out of the power system, they have their Power Up program. And of course, there's a lot of other options out there from other brands. So you can go and take this truck to the next level. What's the best scale trail truck from Traxxas? Well, they're all based off the TRX4. So it really depends on what style fits you the best. All the trucks are 4x4. They have metal gears, portal axles, aluminum shocks, metal frame rails, and they all handle pretty well. The high trail editions do have a higher center of gravity, so you have to watch the type of obstacles that you crawl with them. But when it comes down to it, the one I like to recommend most is the Sport. I think it's well priced, so you can get into it, see if it's really for you, and it's gonna handle really well. There's actually a lot of people that buy the Sport version so they could go and build it up and modify it the way they want to. And they actually have a kit version as well if you want to go and build one up. Speaking about building up a custom TRX4, I actually have a full project series on the channel here to show you how you can go and build and modify it. But this is actually a really tough rig that is well suited for beginners. You can just drive this as is and you're guaranteed to have fun with it. Meet the Traxxas Slash. This is probably one of the most used trucks by hobby shops for rental, loaner, and try-me type of vehicles. The truck could really put up with a lot. Part of that is because of the full fender body. It helps take a lot of the impacts from crashes and hits. And what's also nice about this truck is it's 2-wheel drive, so it helps cut down on the cost a little bit from the initial purchase all the way through to maintaining the vehicle. The one sitting here is the newest version, the BL2S. So this has the brushless motor and speed controller in it. So it's got good power to it. This model also has the clipless body, so it's easy to remove the body. You don't lose those little body clips. And the truck overall is a lot of fun to drive. It's really got a lot of action behind it. Because of its higher CG chassis, you get a lot of roll in the corners. It looks realistic. The tires work well. It's got a lot of suspension travel to it, so it looks awesome going off of jumps. I think they're just a really great truck to get into RC with and a lot of fun to drive wherever you are. And when you get used to it, there's a ton of aftermarket options for it. So you can again go and customize it, modify it, and make it your own. If hitting the asphalt is more of your thing, then you're definitely gonna wanna check out the Fortec Supra. There's actually a number of Fortecs available from Traxxas, and they have a new BL2S version that I'm gonna test out here on the channel. But so far, I really like the Supra. And as you can see, I've got 3 of them, one for me and one for each of my kids. This is what we head out to the driveway with. and just have fun with on the weekends. There's just something about the way this one is set up. They're all very similar, but I like the tires that are on this. They seem to grip really well. The wheelbase also helps it handle well. The body looks really cool and aids in the handling, and they're just a lot of fun to drive. These things put up with a lot of abuse. You can see the front end of these three are pretty well beat up, but I haven't replaced any parts on them yet. Traxxas does offer a number of option parts that you could go and modify these with, but I suggest just running them straight out of the box if you're just looking to have some RC fun. Now, there's often times where people say, I have a pretty good idea of how RC cars work. I think I could get into this easily, or I've driven one at the local hobby shop, a friend let me borrow one and I think I could do this. I have a little bit more money to spend. What do you think would be a good entry point for me? And that's when I suggest the Maxx, especially the new one with the wide Max kit on it. This thing is an absolute beast to drive. And like all other Traxxas models, this one has a training mode. You could go and cut the throttle by 50% by reprogramming the speed controller. It runs through the steps right in the instruction manual on how to do it. And you could start off by driving this thing at 50%, getting used to how it works. And once you get a feel for it, of course, you could bump the throttle back up. But again, this truck is an absolute beast. It gets some serious airtime. It handles really well. It's got nice plush suspension to it. It's got those sledgehammer tires, so you can just shred the terrain. It has a heavy duty driveline, even a wheelie bar. It's got an inner skeleton on the body, so if you land on the body, it doesn't crush the shell itself or anything on the inside. These things are just wild to drive. It's a bit more expensive than the other options that I showed you, but again, if you think you're really gonna get into RC, you know you're gonna be doing it a lot, the Maxx is just a killer truck. And it's not the most expensive truck from Traxxas. That would be the X-Maxx. But if that's out of your price range and it's definitely not a beginner truck, this is the best option to check out. So again, narrowing it down to just 5 cars was not an easy task, but I really enjoy driving these, so I was confident in suggesting them to you as your first RC car. If none of these picks are really speaking to you, I have a bunch of other Traxxas vehicles showcased here on the channel, so definitely hit up the search bar. Traxxas didn't sponsor this video. I came up with it on my own to help people and hopefully help you if you found it during a YouTube search. I'll have links and additional information in the video description below, and if you're looking for some other brands, let me know if you like this type of video and maybe I'll create one based on your brand suggestion.